Yo, what's good? It's your man 100 Grand Russ with The Rock Never Stops. Today, I want to continue in my preseason recaps of the games that actually matter. And I'm going to review the Golden State Warriors versus the Portland Trailblazers. I just dropped a video on Steve Kerr's, basically just letting everybody know what the Warriors are going to do in terms of discipline for Draymond Green. So go check that out if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. But I want to dive into this preseason game. Let me be clear. What the Warriors just did in preseason is something that only the great teams do. They basically sunned the Portland Trailblazers in this preseason game. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the term being sunned, it's like when somebody puts you in your place, when somebody reminds you that you're not the parent, you're not dad, you're not poppy, you don't pay the rent, you really are just along for the show, but I'm driving the car. I'm directing things, right? It's almost a way of saying, look, I'm the big dog. You just a part of the pack, right? Just be happy that you're here, right? What the Golden State Warriors just did in sitting out their entire starting lineup and their sixth man. They sat out Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Kayvon Looney, and Draymond Green was already out. And they started their bench players. The Portland Trailblazers, on the other side, were starting all of their starters except for Damian Lillard. Now, when you have a starting lineup that is facing a backup lineup, this is one of those trap situations. This is one of those, it's really easy for a team to let their foot off the gas knowing that they're not going against another starting lineup, and they tend to take the backups for granted. This is also an opportunity for the backups to show their worth and that they can play at a high level against NBA starter competition. Now, within context, you have to understand that the Golden State Warriors have owned the Portland Trailblazers for much of this era. They have dominated the Portland Trailblazers, whether it's been in the regular season, the playoffs. They've had far more success, and it's been somewhat of a sad thing to see because Damian Lillard is from the Bay Area, right? He's from Oakland. He wears 0 to represent the O for Oakland, right? And so you'd almost hope that Damian Lillard would be able to show out and have some opportunities to kind of like show what he can do, right? And the Golden State Warriors just never really gave it to him. Stephen Curry just seemed to be adamant, like, yeah, you might be from here, but I'm the man here. I'm that dude. I'm the dude, face of the franchise for much of his tenure with the Golden State Warriors when they've been in Oakland up until the last couple of years that they moved to San Francisco, which if you know me, you know I have a silent gripe about because that was just a power play to make money for the organization. But it took a lot of business out of the Oakland area and really impacted a lot of the economics of that community and a much more significant black community. For those who aren't familiar with the Golden State Warriors in the Bay Area, there's massive gentrification, and so San Francisco has pretty much pushed out most communities of color out of that city. And so to move the team there shifted a lot of dollars away from communities of color, whether it's catering, services, all these different things that play into the stadium, and shifted all that to San Francisco. So I have a little bit of gripe about that. But it's to say that the Golden State Warriors, right, despite Damian Lillard being Oakland's own, have made sure that Oakland never got a chance to really celebrate Damian Lillard when he comes home, right? And it was no different in this preseason game. The Golden State Warriors got out to a fast start, and they just absolutely put their foot on the neck of the Portland Trailblazers. This is a sad thing to see. Look, the starting lineup for the Golden State Warriors: J. Michael Green, Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody, Dante DiVincenzo. Dante DiVincenzo was the starting point guard for the Golden State Warriors. I want to read some of these stats that these guys had. Dante DiVincenzo ended the game at a plus 21 in his plus minus, right? Only had 2 points, but 10 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 7 rebounds. Moses Moody ended the game with 20 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and a block, at a plus 18 plus minus. James Wiseman plus 26, plus minus 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and I can't tell you how many other layups and shots at the rim that he deterred just by his presence, whether it was a literal block or him maintaining verticality, jumping straight up, or just being a presence in front of the rim. Guys literally were steered away. James Wiseman barely even played last season. Jonathan Kuminga, 10 points, three rebounds, 1 assist, plus 31. Had the highest plus minus on this team. And also played the most minutes at 24 and a half minutes, right? Plus 31. His level of defense, his play in transition, the pressure he put on the defense, getting to the free throw line. He shot 75%, 3 or 4, but also causing numerous fouls to be picked up on the other team simply by trying to keep him out the paint. He was really a terror to keep out of the paint because of his explosiveness and his ability to play with his back to the basket. And then you got J. Michael Green, the consummate professional, 20 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, plus 25, plus minus. But it didn't end there. You had guys like Ryan Rollins, Pat Spencer, who's become a favorite of mine, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. The guy is just kind of like a mini Josh Hart. He's a jack of many trades, does everything at a B plus to A minus level, even if he's not superstar in any one of those areas. But he just does everything so well, and he understands how to play the game. He's literally, I think he played, what's his name, right off the team. I can't remember his name, but the dude from Georgetown, the white dude who used to be able to dunk all the time, played him off the roster. Like, literally just played him off the roster. Like, yeah, you might be scoring, but I can rebound, get assists, play great defense, move without the ball, and do all these little things, set screens, backdoor slip, right? I can do everything. I don't just score and shoot, right? But when you look at this team all together, they were leading by 20 plus points almost the entirety of the game and got up close to 30 points by the end of the game. Now let me take a look at the starting lineup for the Portland Trailblazers. Jusuf Nurkic, been a starter for the past, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Jeremy Grant, contract year, right? You got Josh Hart, Anthony Simons, who's been really struggling in preseason. Keon Johnson, who I'm actually pretty high on, right? These guys had a total of Josh Hart, 3 points. Jeremy Grant, 9 points. Jusuf Nurkic, 16. He did all right, but most of his damage was from the free throw line, 12 of 14, right? Anthony Simons, 12 points, but shot 40% from the field and from 3, right? Really kind of struggled in this game. Keon Johnson, 4 points, right? This is what the starters did against the backups. Now, why is this also significant? Because we've been trying to stretch and see, can Portland actually put a team around Damian Lillard to give him an opportunity to win a championship? And my answer after this game is resoundingly no. 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 This team is one rough start from trading away Dame and Nurkic and getting in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Straight up. Straight up. And I say that for several reasons. One, Anthony Simons, he may take a while to adjust to playing with Dame. It seems like to a degree, I don't know if he's second guessing himself or he's trying to figure out how to play more off the ball after having the ball so much in his hands and maybe just, the freedom to do a lot of different things. But now with Dame back and the starting lineup here and Jeremy Grant, Josh Hart, and all these other guys, there's an expectation, right? Other teams have prepared for him. And I don't know if he's necessarily put in the work to take another leap. A lot of guys, when they get that big contract, which he just did after having a career year, there's a tendency to let off the, gas a little bit, right? They tend to, have a little longer vacation during the summer, and they deserve it. They deserve it. But the problem is the Portland Trailblazers are trying to see if they can win a championship, right? Can they even get in the mix? And the reality is when I look at the bench, I don't necessarily see a bench that's championship worthy. Now, I love Justice Winslow, Gary Payton II. But outside of these two, right, you don't really have a deep veteran bench. And I've said this over and over again. You know if a team is serious about winning because they have a veteran team. They don't have a bunch of young guys, right? And yet you have guys like Shaedon Sharpe, played almost 40 minutes. I like him a lot. Nasir Little played almost 25 minutes. You have guys like Isaiah Miller, Jabari Walker, Jared Rhoden, played 13, 15, and 13 minutes, right? Trenton Walford, who got a lot of minutes last season, only played about 7.5 minutes, right? And none of these guys had great games. Even Shaden Sharp, who had a much better game towards the second half of the game, but it was already well put away. But you see his talent. You see his talent. And that speaks to why they're really one rock throw away from getting into the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. Because when you have guys like Shaden Sharp, who has amazing measurements at 6'6", about 210 pounds, great athlete, smooth athlete, who reminds me a lot of Brandon Roy, if I'm honest. Reminds me a lot of Brandon Roy, right? But when you have a guy with that type of a talent, right, on your team who's showing you that, hey, he might be the real deal. He also plays some great defense, right? And then you have somebody like Keon Johnson, extremely athletic guard who's playing a lot of point guard, which I was shocked about because in Tennessee that wasn't his role, right? But yet he's playing that here. And he's extremely explosive. Probably one of the more explosive guards in the NBA. He has that Westbrook type explosiveness. And you got Anthony Simons, who tore it up last season. Between these three guards, they're going to need playing time. And if you have Damian Lillard depending upon them, who are still learning, right, to be dependable, reliable pieces for a deep playoff run, I don't see it. I don't see it. And this game was one of those humbling moments where it was like, no, you don't have it. You don't have it. It's not to say you're not good. You won't be good, but you're not championship good. You're not even Western Conference semifinals good from the way things actually looked in this game, right? And watching the other games, I saw some nice things, but it was against teams that don't really matter, right? Having a good game against Utah doesn't matter, right? Because Utah's not even trying to win this season, right? And so when you look at this roster and you look at what they've been trying to do, this was a sad preseason game. This was just sad. I mean, great if you're a Warrior fan because you got to see James Wiseman beast out. And I'm going to do a video on him. I think he's going to have, the next type of Andrew Bynum leap. If y'all remember Andrew Bynum when he came on the stage for the Los Angeles Lakers, he was another kid that came in out of high school, out of Newark, New Jersey, came in out of nowhere on the back end of the Shaquille O'Neal era. And he developed, beneath Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, and those guys. And when he came on, he was just in that first breakout year. All of a sudden, you were like, whoa, this kid has got talent. And he is an absolute terror. Look at his size. Look at his hands. Look at his touch around the rim and his footwork, his physicality, right? I think the same aura that we thought about him, I think is going to be around James Wiseman. But that's for a separate video. All that's to say is the fact that James Wiseman beasted out against Yusuf Nurkic, who has been a starting NBA center for the past 6-7 seasons, right? And you have James Wiseman, who puts up 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists and a block with a plus 26 plus minus, 75% from the field. 75% from the field, 86% from the free throw line, shot 6 of 7. Against Yusuf Nurkic, he was making quick, definitive moves with great footwork and touch that was catching Nurkic off guard. And Nurkic picked up a few fouls just by not being able to really calculate James Wiseman's length and his footwork and where he was going and how he was going to extend past him or step past him, right? I'm watching this and I'm just like, it's hard to say Nurkic was the better center. More experience, sure, evident by his free throws, but a lot of that was other guys being out of position. James Wiseman was turning a lot of guys away at the rim. And if I look at impact, James Wiseman might be leapfrogging a Yusuf Nurkic. And James Wiseman didn't even unleash that three-point jump shot yet. He was doing most of his work on the inside, pick and rolls, slashing, cutting to the basket, getting dump offs, finishing offensive rebounds. I mean, he was a monster inside. And so when I think about this game, what do I take away? Portland, you're not in this class. You're not in the championship class. This is a sad look. If I'm Damian Lillard sitting there in the stands, I'm like, what is going on? If you're Chauncey Billups, you got to be looking at your team like, what is wrong? And I think he got into him a little bit in that second quarter, like, yo, what's wrong with y'all? Y'all down 20 points in the first quarter, going into the second quarter? What's going on? Against backups? Where's your pride at? And this is something he's been trying to instill in this team since he got there. And yet, this is the type of showing that they have as they prepare for the season, which is going to be a tough dog season. Teams are better than they've ever been, whether it's Minnesota, Sacramento, right? Teams that were out of it last year, New Orleans, are going to be back. Memphis is going to be better. right? A lot of these teams they're going to have to contend with. And so you got to hit the ground running, especially with teams like Denver, with Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back. Like, you have to come ready. And this is how you show up. This is how you show up. It's one thing for you to get blown out when you're not playing your starters. It's another thing for you to get blown up by the backups and you are playing your starters, right? It's another thing when your starters maintain a lead and maybe your backups can't hold it. Okay, all right, that's not as bad. But when the backups demolish your starters in this preseason game leading up to the season that is going to be here in another week or so, right? This is a bad look. But as always, I want to know what you all think. What do you guys take away from this game? What do you think about the Portland Trailblazers, the Golden State Warriors? I love what I saw from the Warriors. They got a whole lot to look up to for this upcoming season. Even guys like Ryan Rollins and, like I said, Pat Spencer, they really showed me a lot of great things. I think this team's going to be very deep. I think that they're going to be on another run because a lot of these young guys are going to be able to carry them, and I think that's going to bode well for keeping these starters fresh throughout the regular season. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification. I truly appreciate all the love and support, and I'll see y'all in the comment section. Peace.